Everybody, good afternoon, good Tuesday, as it were. How you doing today, Ray?
I don't even know that I got to see you on Tuesdays. What is happening right now?
You don't. Most of the time, I shut you down. I turn off my phone. I ignore you. I'm like, get out of my face.
We're like a Saturday group, and here we are on a Tuesday with special guests, man. Look, we got people in the studio with us today. Pretty excited. I know you've been super excited about this one, so I'll let you do the introductions.
Yeah, so this is Lou Perez, who I originally found you on X somehow through a random video, I think, or a comment you made. And then, just started kind of following you. Then, of course, when I saw you were coming to San Antonio, I was like, oh, I want to go and hear this guy out and stuff like that. And it was a great time. I didn't realize it was a libertarian get together, and so, I mean, it was just kind of crazy, but welcome to the show, Lou. It's great to have you here. If you guys do not know who he is a comedian, a producer, and author of the book That Joke Isn't Funny Anymore, on the death and rebirth of comedy. He's been on Gutfield. He's been on Fox News. He's been all over the place. But welcome in, Lou. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Well, thanks for having me. And I don't know if anyone's complimented you before on that intro music, but that slaps, man.
It's legit, dude.
Did you guys make that?
Yeah. We've got a whole host of copyright-free music we've made for content creators called RUM-Bot music, which we have all different kinds of genres. So if you want Latin, you can do Latin. If you want to do hip-hop, you can do hip-hop. If you want to do oldies, you can do oldies, classic rock, and everything.
Yeah, I want to hear some of that Latin prog rock.
You want to hear some of that? I might have some of that. You better be careful. But what's up, Seven? Welcome on in. Again, it is your birthday, 707, because we're on a Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock.
Twice in 3 days.
Yes, I know. And you look a little bit more rested up now, Ray.
Oh, dude, I was so exhausted from 24-hour-a-day streaming with the side scroller guys. Man, that was wild. What a weird weekend. But yeah. Lou, welcome to our world, man. So the gist of what we do here and what we do for our chat is we're talking through all the different things that we do for content creators, not necessarily gaming streamers, but content creators, influencers in general, understanding some of the tools that we use on a day-to-day basis, understanding some of the best practices, the way that we communicate our message, the way that we protect our brand, the way that we put our brand out there, even down sometimes like what lights we use, what cameras we use. We do all that kind of stuff. So to have somebody like you with some stage presentation and stand-up experience, being in front of people where most of us are just kind of in front of our cameras, we're super stoked to have these conversations, to hear from you, what you've learned, where you've been, all that kind of stuff, man. It's going to be a fun conversation.
Well, thank you. I hope I don't disappoint.
Hopefully not. So here it is, you guys. You guys ready? We're going to start out here with the clip. This is something that he has done. Now, remember, you guys, we're using EV Muck, so please be patient. And so I'm going to do my best here, but this is from his Wokezilla. It's absolutely great. He's freaking so funny.
Amber, you okay?
Oh my God!
Are you hurt?
Look at my city!
I know, it's horrible.
Oh, this is what late stage capitalism looks like.
Ma'am, I think you might have a concussion. Godzilla is attacking the city. Do you need medical attention?
I'm fine! But you know who needs medical attention? Over 80 million Americans who are uninsured or underinsured.
What does that have to do with Godzilla?
What does that have to do with Godzilla? Keep focusing on all the Godzillas instead of the system they're speaking out against.
Oh my God, I really hope there's only one Godzilla.
Godzilla isn't the disease. Godzilla's a symptom.
Oh my God, he's tearing down the Empire State Building now.
People over property! People over property! The poor sea monster! He's desperate! He's desperate! He just wants to be heard! Do you hear him?
So that was absolutely great. And of course, that was during the height of the pandemic too, wasn't it? Like right around 2022, 23?
Yeah. I think that that came out early 2021. Actually,
that's awesome. That's awesome. So how did you get your start, like in comedy, and how did you find yourself down this path?
Well, I was a big fan of Godzilla, and I was like, somehow, some way, I'm going to find a way to get that big lizard in a sketch. One thing I want to give a shout out to the actress there. That's Shelley Shenoy, who I've had the great privilege of working with for, man, I think we're approaching maybe like 10 years. And the first sketch that she was in of mine was a sketch called ESL Students Learn New Gender Pronouns. And it was a sketch I produced for We the Internet TV, which was a comedy channel that I was a head writer on for some years back. And it might be one of my favorite sketches, especially since how everything kind of came together. Like, we were still trying to cast it, and I was trying to finish the script the night before we were supposed to shoot it. And then out of, kind of nowhere, Shelley Shanoy, who's a friend with another actor who's been in a lot of my stuff, is Gary Lee Mahmood. He's like, oh, I think I got the actress for you. And so we kind of rolled the dice. And she came and she just nailed it. And it was like, from that moment, it was like, I want to work with her as much as I can. And something is, so this is the Woke Godzilla video, and it's basically, kind of similar to, kind of like what everybody was going through during during COVID, during the riots and all that stuff, where everybody was kind of putting their own political justifications on the chaos that was happening. So Boris Hyken, one of my collaborators, he had the idea of, Godzilla's attacking the city, and here you have all these people who are making excuses for it, like, Godzilla's here to, Godzilla is basically on, Team Kaepernick, and he's against police brutality. That's why he's tearing apart Manhattan. And so, something is like, a lot of the stuff that I've done has been like satire and taking like politics and culture, and sometimes it could be tough to cast a thing if because you kind of run the risk of, like, maybe you're going to insult the beliefs of the actor or the actress that's working on it. So it took a while for me to kind of assemble a team of people who I can count on, who are going to be down to do these kinds of projects, and hopefully I get to work with them more. So.
Yeah, and I think that's very important because, like I talked a little bit to you when you were here in San Antonio, I'm glad that there were voices out there that were still pushing back against the woke culture. And we're still not completely out of it yet, especially in the content creation space.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why that I love being on Rumble, because here we can be who we want to be. We can post the content we want to post, good or bad, whatever that means.
Yeah, left or right, even. I think that people don't understand that. Like, freedom of speech works on both sides of the aisle. Yes, and exactly. I think so many times people think that means that, you're just coming from one direction.
Exactly. And so how did you kind of like navigate that with, because I know you're still pretty heavily on YouTube still with your actual Lou Perez podcast that you also do. How are you kind of navigating those waters?
I don't think I'm navigating them well. It's a big part of me. I don't know what's going and what's happening. And that's the thing, like with a lot of the platforms, it's kind of like, it seems like it changes day to day, or at least it was. I mean, a few years back, during the Biden years, it was like, what word is going to get dinged? What word is going to, demonetize you, or, possibly get you, your video taken down or your account banned. And it's just like a really shitty situation to be in if you're, a content creator or somebody who just wants to have conversations. Like, one of the aspects of kind of like censorship on YouTube that I don't think a lot of people talked about was, it changed the way people spoke in their videos, right? Like, I know there was a number of people, they didn't want to say the word vaccination, right? Because saying vaccination would get you dinged. And you could possibly be a vaccine person. Yeah. And that would, just mess up your whole video and your revenue stream and all that. So instead of saying vaccination, they would throw in words like, one guy I heard say vacation, Yeah. And it's like, here we are, you're kind of trying to get around all of these censors, and it's changing the way that you're speaking. And I think ultimately when you have to speak in codes, it's it gets in the way of being truthful and honest
and
right?
authentic too.
And authentic,
I mean,
yeah.
like to your point, like I remember I was doing content on TikTok, and the agency that I was working with would literally send out lists of words that we couldn't say, and legitimately vaccine was one of those words that without any warning, without any strike, like if you were live and you were talking about the vaccine one way or the other, TikTok was just taking, like their AI was taking you down. And so like we're not even talking about people that are moderating, it's robots are moderating and searching for these words, and creators had to dance around it like crazy.
Yeah, or there would be like some videos that would be totally okay to put on like Instagram or Twitter, but then would get removed on TikTok. And for me, it's like, you know, I'm doing the same. It's the same video. You know, it's the same joke
They'll
that's
have
going out.
multiple edits that are going out.
Yeah,
on the internet.
exactly. I think one of them was it was around the time that Hank Azaria, the voiceover actor, was apologizing for doing the voice of Apu from The Simpsons, and he wanted to apologize to every single Indian person on the planet. That's like a billion people.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of apology. And he wanted to apologize to all of them for doing, you know, this stereotypical Indian accent. In my video, I basically said, you know, if he's going to apologize for doing the voice of Apu, then every single Indian who sounds like Apu should also apologize. You know, it's like they're doing their own stereotype. And apparently that didn't go over well on TikTok. And that ended up, you know, being taken down. I forget what they said. If I was like creating a, you know, a dangerous environment, a hateful community, hate speech. And it's like, oh, geez, man. Like, you know, I don't want to have to be thinking about this stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things. I mean, it's kind of crazy because even nowadays, people still are censoring their speech and stuff like that. You know, even YouTube supposedly, you know, kind of relax some of those, you know, rules and stuff like that. No,
Sure
not
they did.
really. Totally. Like you can't say like, I mean, we're streaming on YouTube right now. I'm probably gonna get dinged. I don't care. If you're over on YouTube, come over to Rumble. It's better here. To, you know, where they can't talk about like someone murder somebody or kill somebody. They got to say they unalive them. I'm like, what is that, dude?
Yeah, that covered a lot of things. That covered like suicide. That covered murder. That covered like shooting at somebody. Like so, even if you shot at somebody, it was like attempted unaliving. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about here? You know, I think for me, it's so funny. You know, Steve Carell was being interviewed probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago now, around the time of COVID, and they asked him about The Office, and he literally said, like, we could never make the show today. Yep. And like once upon a time, I think that we had an understanding that like comedy was like a safe place, that you could talk about things satirically, and you could say the things that you couldn't say out loud because we were all going to come together and laugh about it. And it's being choked out. And you look at it in culture, there's not comedy anywhere anymore. Like, you're not getting movies in theaters that are comedy, and there's several reasons for that. But like, even in what you do in your commentary, in your comedy, like, and all the things, like, how restrictive is that for you? It's got to be crazy restrictive.
I think I'm pretty lucky in that I feel like things have been going well, or at least in a more positive direction over the past like 3 years. And like the subtitle of my book is like On the Death and Rebirth of Comedy. You know, I think we are you know, coming onto a rebirth. There are definitely, you know, kind of like genres that, or media that aren't doing too well, and that is probably like when, you know, if you think about like comedic feature films have been ripped, you know, and I was lucky, I guess a few months back, to see The Naked Gun.
Oh, yes.
And I wrote a review of The Naked Gun for The Blaze, and I had kind of like, I had like some, you know, I had something at stake in that I know and I'm friends with two of the writers and co-producers of the new Naked. Yeah. So we went to a screening that one of the guys had put together with our New York friends. And so I was going into it like, oh man, I really hope that this is good, because I don't want to have to ask my buddy to give me my money back for the movie that he made me go see. So it was like going in there. I was like, oh man, it was a really tough tough task that they had. I mean, The Naked Gun is a classic,
Yeah.
and you're doing a feature film. So many years removed since the last one was made. And then, I sat there in the theater next to him, right, which just added more tension. He's gonna know that I'm not liking it. And, for the next hour and like 20 minutes, I was laughing my ass off. It was so fun. It was so funny. There are jokes that I know I missed because I was laughing at previous jokes.
Yeah.
And there was a part of me that was like, oh, awesome. Like comedy is back. At least, in the feature, when it comes to like features, I'm like, awesome. Comedy is back. And, so I kind of like look at that and I'm like, oh, I'm hopeful for that. But I think ultimately, I think a lot of things are just kind of, being held back just out of, just not having the budget. I'm developing a few projects with friends of mine. One of them is a feature comedy, and we're sort of doing the mathematics of, okay, what genre is doing well? Okay, maybe we can get a little bit of that. When could we shoot it? Where could we shoot it? How much would we need to make this thing so it doesn't look like a whole piece of crap? And then also, like, where's it going to go? Like, after you make like a feature, where the hell does it go? Because I just had a guy on my podcast, Jason Noto, who's a filmmaker, and one of his last features that came out like a few years ago went on Amazon. It's streaming on Amazon now. And he was saying, he was kind of naive and thinking like, oh, when it came out, it would be like on the front page of Amazon.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, it's not on the front page of Amazon. And he's like, okay, well, I'll go look for it. And he starts typing in the title. I think it's Beyond the Night. I think that's what it's called. And he's like, he types in Beyond. It's not coming up. Types in Beyond not coming up. He has to type in the entire title before his movie comes up. And it's like, by that time, if you're a regular person, you're onto something else.
Yeah, for sure.
You're onto whatever whatever's being the algorithm, whatever's being fed to you.
And you're definitely not accidentally finding it.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Like for Netflix and the search feature, all those things are so important to people to be able to be accidentally found. Like, here's a movie that I didn't know about, and I'm looking for something else, and I see this, and I click on it and I watch the trailer. Okay, yeah, dude, I'll totally watch it. That ain't happening.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where, I mean, this guy spent years making this feature, and to kind of like see it almost disappear. I mean, that's gotta be so painful. I know how it feels where, like the woke Godzilla video that you put on, that you played. I made that how many years ago, and it felt like, and it was even like after the first week that it was out, I was in the mode of like, okay, what's next? I got to make something new. And it's like, we put all that work into this thing, and it's just out there, and it's like gone. As opposed to something where it's like, cool, we get to promote this for a while, and
and I think a lot of that too just comes from with the way that like YouTube kind of they tend to do like a shadow ban and stuff like that. Hopefully you're still alive over there, Lou.
I think we lost him.
Yeah, we lost his camera. No, so Elgato broke, everybody.
There it is.
He broke it. He broke his computer, everybody. But we'll get him back as we kind of wait. Should we try the duo until he gets back? Should we try that?
Yeah. Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
He said, give him a second.
Yeah.
He's figuring it out. I see him.
We can count. We can do a countdown. Should we get the countdown widget? Let's go.
Give that. Well, I mean, I think the interesting topic that he was just talking about is the lifetime of your content. And again, this show is for content creators. And so many times it's easy for us to get really disheartened because you do put a ton of work into what we do. I mean, you're planning stuff out, whether it's skits, whether it's clips of your stream, whether it's something that you're doing a stand up and saying right to the camera. And then you put all this work and effort, and then you second guess yourself and you doubt yourself. Is this the way I wanted to say it? Is this the way I didn't want to say it? All these things happen. You put it out there, and then it just it dies. Like Lou, talk to those creators like that are putting all this effort in. If you can talk, I'm not sure if your mic's back up the internet, but if you can talk to them,
I can hear him, yeah.
Okay.
like how do you combat that? Because you're doing it on a much larger scale than a lot of these guys are. But like, what is it like to see a video like what Godzilla pop off and go hot, and then 2 days later it's like it's gone? And I don't know what that was the timeline. I'm just saying.
Well, one thing I think you need to like remind yourself is that it's not over, even though it could feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I found, and I was talking with Ryan Long, who I'm sure you guys are familiar with his work. Ryan's a machine whether it's stand up, man on the street stuff, or sketch comedy. He produces such great stuff. And he had told me like. I think it was with TikTok in particular.
Yep.
He's like, yo, reshare the video. Like it's been, so long, reshare it and see what happens. So I think when you start looking at things in that mindset where, if you shared a video, especially if it's like on like an evergreen kind of topic,
yeah,
it doesn't hurt to reshare it, 3 months down the road, or even longer, 6 months down the road, and even have that kind of part of your rotation to share it, because there's going to be a whole audience that's never seen it before, and if you have fans, they probably don't mind you resharing it.
No,
they don't mind looking at it, watching it again, and I sort of had success with that. With there's a series that I'm producing with Free the People called Comedy is Murder. And one of the sketches is a parody of James Bond called, it was like James Bond fights free speech, or James Bond fights hate speech. And I had shared it on X. And every time that I saw like Elon Musk, talking about free speech in the UK, I would share this video, and one day my wife and I, we went to go pick up our son from school, and I'm sitting in the car just going through my phone, and I'm like, man, I'm getting a lot of like new follows and stuff. And I check, and I'm like, and I see that the video has been liked by Elon, and I'm like, no way, come on, give me a break. And then I see that he shared the video, and that video now has I think it's over 40 million views on X,
wow,
which is just, astonishing. But I'm very doubtful he would have seen that if I had said, oh, we made this video in October of last year. It's done. Let's move on, as opposed to, and you don't have to stalk the guy. I mean, probably not a good idea to do that. It should be appropriate when you're sharing stuff, resharing it. But looking for those opportunities where it's either, someone who's, someone who has a larger platform is commenting on something that has to do with what you did. Hey, share it. And, looking for opportunities to put the stuff out there again, because for a lot of people, it is a new thing.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. I try to get around, I really think I'll just go back to say this with Elon buying Twitter at the time, turning it into X, I think was really kind of a game changer. Now, X is not 100% free speech. Unfortunately, I wish that it was. But with him like coming in and kind of taking over the reins and kind of mixing stuff around, it really kind of created a sense of like relief, with your book and stuff like that. When exactly did you write it? Because a lot of the stuff that you kind of quote in there was like about Chappelle, who is an absolute phenomenal entertainer. And luckily, I mean, there's nothing they can do to Chappelle. He's just too big. They tried big time, but what was kind of like your inspiration between writing for writing your book?
Yeah, so it was October of 2020, and I had just lost my job at We the Internet TV, which is where I made that ESL students learn new gender pronouns. And so I just lost my job, and I think it was like sometime in November. There was like this pre-published academic paper that was going around. It was something about like the growth of right-wing echo chambers on YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. It's like sounds scary,
Yeah.
And
it always make it sound scary.
Yeah. And that pre-published paper, it it was going around, and at the end of it, there was like this whole index where they were talking about, where they listed all the channels that they looked at. And one of the channels was We the Internet TV, and it was labeled far right. And, I had just lost my job and was getting my, resume together and cover letters and stuff and looking to reach out to people. And, for the past like 5 years, I've been working on that channel, right? Producing it. And I was the face of it. Like this mug is all over that place. So the prospects of like looking for a job and people seeing like, oh yeah, you're the far right producer of, blah, blah, blah. That wasn't going to be a good look. And I had a number of friends of mine, one Noam Dworman, who he owns the Comedy Cellar. He was saying to me, he's like, you got to respond. You got to do like, write something or, do a video or something like that. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, I should do something. And thanks to Noam, he hooked me up with an editor at the Wall Street Journal. So I wrote an article called How I Became a, quote, Far Right Radical. And
nice.
It was from that article that led to the book deal that I got. And what's funny about that is I got the book deal in a very abnormal way. Mm-hmm. Things don't normally go this way. I had been Facebook friends with an editor, and I reached out to him. We had never like hung out or anything like that. And I said, hey, I wrote this with you, here's the link. And I sent it to him. And I was thinking like, oh, it would be really cool if he wrote back and was like, hey, you should write a book. And that's exactly what he did.
Nice.
He wrote back and was like, you should write a book. So yeah, I had a great experience putting that together. I'm very proud of the book. And also it also gave me, some insight too. Is like, I think part of why I was also able to, get the deal is because I had a pretty big online presence, where it's like, oh, this guy makes stuff that people
Mm-hmm.
watch. So be more likely that people actually, pick up the book.
You're too big to be ignored.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's funny how opportunities like that kind of happen. Like you just, you prepare and you do the best you can. Then all of a sudden they kind of drop in your lap. And I wrote a book. Nobody has ever read it, but it's about doing internet radio stuff for like a ministry and stuff like that. I was doing it at the time. I was doing my own stuff with like Stickum, and I was doing, online internet radio station and stuff like that. And so I had this guest on my show, and he's like, hey, this guy, talked to me about writing a book about, doing online ministry stuff with, radio and all this other stuff. And he said, I told him I couldn't do it, but I gave him your name. It just like dropped in my lap. I was like, sure. It happened to be for Thomas Nelson. I was like, that's even better.
Yeah.
And, it's funny how basically you kind of prepare for that. I wouldn't even say even really prepare. You just kind of do what you do, and then it just the opportunity kind of falls in your lap. Did that kind of same thing happen? I mean, how did you wind up going from the book and then, getting some spots on like, Fox and on Gutfeld and all that? I mean, it just seems like it's insane,
Oh yeah. Well, one thing I think is really important is that you need to remind people that you exist.
Mm-hmm.
You need to remind people that you have not been unalived. If you have not been unalived. And look, if I'm ever unalived, I do want you guys to seek revenge for sure.
We will. We will.
But I think that's really important. And how do you do that? Well, you do that by, consistently putting out work, right? And by consistently kind of, strengthening relationships, whether it's with, fans of yours or friends who are also working on projects, by supporting one another.
Yeah.
I think that's important. And I think similar to like what I did with the, that, kind of chance encounter with Elon Musk on X, where he, finally took a look at one of these videos that I had made. A similar thing happened where I believe Greg Gutfeld and I started following each other on Twitter, because I think he follows a lot of comedians
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And he had posted something about one of his books, and I kind of took the chance and responded to him with talking about my book. And he's like, "Oh, I love the cover; it's great." And then in the DMs, we talked about. He's like, "Oh, are you in New York? Would you like to do the show sometime?" It's like it was just like that, and yeah, I had a great time on the first time I did the show, and I think I've been on like 7 or 8 times, something like that.
Yeah, and it's great because I mean he's absolutely hilarious himself too as well. And he does such a great job with his show and all the different guests that he has on, and of course, lately with everything going on, what happened with like Charlie Kirk and all that stuff, and how he just went off on the one lady, I was like, wow,
Yeah,
you don't realize he's also passionate and he's like to that thing. But if you guys are interested, I would encourage you guys. The picture is down below. You can see down below here. It is called The Joke Isn't Funny Anymore. It's a really good read, you guys. It's super simple, super easy to understand, but it's funny at the same time. So, the good thing about you writing the book, Lou, is that even if I never see you again, I can still hear your voice inside these pages.
well, thank you. Oh, and also, if you guys are too lazy to read, I also narrate the audiobook, and I will read it to you.
So, oh, very cool. Yeah. So then we'll always hear your voice coming out of the pages.
That's right. That's right.
That's cool.
Lou, man, you've been talking a little bit, the last few minutes we've been talking about community and like different relationships that you've built and how relationships open doors. I think that Facebook, the Facebook friend is so like important for people to understand. Like there's people you're gonna have in your life that may be able to open doors for you or all that. Like, how has that affected your journey? And I'm saying in content creation, but it's really in content in general. Like you're an author, you're doing TV commentary, you're all over the internet, you're doing all these things. Like, how much of that has guided you and directed you, that idea of friendships, community, relationships, networking, and how much time do you think creators need to spend on stuff like that?
Well, I think overall it's sort of it's important to take the opportunities that present themselves to you and do a good job with it. Like there's been a number of times. I remember there was like the one show, I think it was like during like one Freedom Fest years and years ago. And Freedom Fest, for those of you who don't know it, it's kind of like a meeting of like libertarians and conservatives and dudes who are really into gold. And yeah,
I'm into gold.
Yeah. So I was speaking at Freedom Fest one year, and then I got to perform like during like the banquet. Okay. And the night before, I had done a show at like a bar show in Vegas, and completely bombed. It sucked. And then the banquet show, I killed, right? And it kind of felt like, okay, if that was the deal. If the deal was, all right, Lou, you got to pick one show to bomb at. You want to bomb at the bar show where I don't even think the people in the bar even knew there was going to be a comedy show that night, or you could bomb at this, at this banquet. So I think, unknowingly I chose right. And I did a good job, and, and that kind of, opened up, and people would never see me do stand up before had seen me. And so I did a good job. And then, that leads to, to other things. So I think it's important to, take those opportunities and, and crush them, if you can. And really, there's something that kind of happens. I mean, I've been doing comedy now for, over 20 years, and I have like this body of work as well. Yeah. And, projects that are in, various stages of development, where I like to think that, if given the opportunity to go and do, a TV show or the movie or something like that, it's kind of like, oh, here it is. I'm ready for it, and fortunately too, I think I'm kind of, I'm definitely more grounded now as a 43-year-old married man with kids than a 23-year-old Lou Perez, you know, where, I don't think I was I think I'm much better now in all different respects, artistically and creatively and all that now than I was, than 20 years ago. But also I'm kind of more prepared for anything that comes my way. Too.
Yeah, no, and I think that's important to remember, because it's really weird to look back on your life. And of course, I mean, you're able to do that with a lot of the stuff that you've done, and to kind of see like the progression. You go from a young man to like an older man, which 43 is still really young. Don't get me wrong. I'm 49. I'm about to hit 50 here in about 5 months. So nice. I'm already, I've got my grave dug out back. I'm ready to be, put out with the daisies. This is like the last thing I'm ever going to do. But, and I will say from experience, you guys, like getting to see Lou come here to San Antonio to like this little hole in the wall bar that I didn't even know existed in this city. And it was just a real small group of how many people there were, maybe 9 of us or something.
I'll tell you what, if you want to make me seem like a big shot, it was
Let's keep talking about this show.
Yeah, it was a very intimate show. It was very intimate.
And I loved it.
The tickets were so expensive. It was so expensive
private
to be
audience.
one of those nine or 10 people.
Well, then I just remembered there was the drunk Catholic girl too. I think she was Catholic in the back too as well. You handled that really well. And of course they're going to call me right now. But anyway, but he did a great job. And it was, I found that it was so amazing to kind of see you come there for the Libertarian Party and to kind of do your thing. And you were just very relaxed and you had a great time. It seemed like with everybody. And, do you find that it's easier for you now to kind of handle those kind of situations sometimes where you're not as big as maybe you thought it was going to be or
Oh yeah. Much better now, especially, doing longer sets too. I mean, to think back there was a time where, man, to do 6 minutes would be like a panic. Like, oh man, I got to do a tight 6 minutes. Oh God, how do I do it? And now, doing an hour plus, depending on the situation, on the event. It's fun. And then I think also, something kind of, it's like, it's an opportunity too, especially if you're on stage, to really be in the moment, to be present. And I'm not always that. I mean, there's sometimes when I have, other stuff on my mind and I could feel that, it's like, oh, I'm not here 100% and I really should be. But I think that the more present that you can be and able to, deal with, the drunk lady in the back talking about, I forget what she was talking about, but I remember
talking about something about I'm a Christian or something like that. And she's back there like plastered with her boyfriend or something like that. And it was great.
Yeah. Being able to handle that and roll with the punches and also be able to, deliver material that you've been working on for years and make the audience not know that. Yeah. That's a good, a skill to have and necessary too.
Do you feel like when you're doing this kind of stuff, man, like, do you feel like the stuff that hits for you, because we talked about videos that hit or stand or like routines that hit, whatever, do you feel like you get like personally typecast where you're like, okay, well, this is what the people want, so I got to like chase this down? I bring this up. We literally just talked about this in our last show. For us as content creators, and I'll strip it down all the way to like gaming content creators, there is this pressure that comes with like, okay, what are our numbers? Who are our viewer counts? Who are our chatters? Like, what are all the things? Who's here and who's actually ingesting my content? And so in gaming, it's easy for us to be like, oh man, people know me because I play Call of Duty, so I got to play Call of Duty all the time. Well, I hate Call of Duty. I don't want to get on Call of Duty. I hate the content that I'm putting out. But if I don't put this content out, then nobody's going to watch me anymore. And my chat's going to dry up. And then my subs are going to dry up. And then the money's going to stop rolling in. And then the internet's going to move on and leave me behind. So like, do you, obviously not in the gaming space, but in the spaces that you're in content creation, do you feel like you'll hit something or strike a vein and feel like you're in a good groove, and then you got to get a little bit typecast and follow that? Or do you feel that artistic freedom to like make what you want to make whenever?
Oh, I mean, I think I would probably be more successful if I was able to do that. If I was able to kind of be more analytical as far as the direction that I'm going and stuff. So I sometimes find that I'm kind of all over the place, Yep. One thing that I have friends who told me too, it's like, my persona, I don't know, or what comes out of me when I'm like kind of online is
when you're on.
Like I could be like an asshole, whereas in person, I'm a much more likable guy. Or even like I often host and produce shows. So I don't know if any of your listeners are in New York City, Thursday, October 30th, I'm producing a show called Comedy Tasting, where it's stand-up comedy and wine and spirit tasting. It's at a place called Some Good Wine on East 8th Street in Manhattan. So, when I'm hosting, I'm very happy to be there and likable, and want everybody to have a good time. And I smile a lot, which can be very different from the guy who's, responding to socialists on X.
Yeah.
It's just
Yes.
That would make anybody kind of irritated, man. Socialists just, I don't know what you guys got going on over in the East Coast right now in New York, but oh my gosh, you need to go have a talk.
They got a lot going on the East Coast of New York right now with the mayoral candidate.
Yes, I still can't believe that.
Yeah. The Democratic Socialist candidate, which democratic socialism is just socialism on Lupron. It's just like ballless socialism. But yeah, so like there's a thing where it's sort of I might be like kind of too spread out all over the place, and I even find it like with my podcast, the Lou Perez podcast, where it's often just one-on-one conversations with people that I'm interested in, and something I've been working with someone who's been like clipping, the episodes and putting them on YouTube because, hey man, you got to get in those shorts. You got to get those shorts. And I often find, a lot of the clips, I'm like, oh, this is like so AI. This is like this clip. This clip is obviously, took this word to start it because for some reason it's bumping, it's trending, and took this word to end it on because it's trending. And then you watch it, and it's like, well, it doesn't feel like the human conversation that I had. So there's a part of me that is still kind of, I guess, like old school and wanting to push back against that.
You did do a fabulous like AI video that I saw, a short that you did.
Oh, thank you for that.
Real AI, I was impressed. I was like, that looks almost lifelike.
So yeah, and now it's like, maybe that's the future. Maybe I take like my book and all the other stuff I've written and all my videos and put it into like this, this computer mind and just let them spit out Lou Perez material for the rest of my days. I can go fishing or something.
Yeah, I think and I think AI does have its place in some aspects. We did a whole show where we talked about AI and content creation, and some people out there are really upset that you use it for thumbnails. Other people are okay with it. I'm fine. I think that AI is here to stay. Use it as a tool and try to make the best of it. But I did want to actually ask you about your wine and what is it? Your friendship with wine and all that other kind of stuff that you do. I'm curious to know, because it's kind of a great mix, right? You have them come in, give them a bunch of wine, and then tell them jokes, and then it's great from there. So tell us a little bit more about that. What
get them too drunk so they don't know if I'm funny or not.
See, exactly.
So comedy tasting, it's actually a really good deal. For a ticket, it's $25.
Oh, wow.
And with that, you see, I'm hosting, and I have 3 comics who are just amazing comics. So I have Carmen Lynch, who is fantastic. She's going to be recording a new special soon. You can see she has a special that's on, I believe it's Mark Norman's YouTube channel, and she's hilarious. I've been watching her for years, and she's a killer. Joe DeVito, who's a regular on Gutfeld. Joe performs all over New York, and I believe he's writing staff on Gutfeld as well. And then Alan Altman, he's a regular at the Comedy Cellar. So just really great comedians, great comedians in New York. And for each comic, you're getting you're being able to try at least one new wine or spirit, And
I think that's great.
Yeah, in the first show, I got to say that people were able to drink a lot more than just a tasting. And it was fun because it's like, there's so many shows happening every single night of the week in New York City. And it's like, what is going to, differentiate your show from others? And this seemed like a fun hook, and Some Good Wine is a great wine shop. And the owner, Jeremy's a really a great dude. And yeah, we're experimenting with it, and, hopefully it's something we can keep doing on the regular.
Yeah, I think that's great. And for anybody that's curious about it, if you guys are in the area, the link to his website is down below. You can find information there on his website at thelouperez.com. I want to make sure I say that correctly.
Right on.
So make sure you guys go there, check it out. Because it's such an interesting concept. I haven't heard anybody kind of come up with that before, because you think of shows like Whose Line Is It Anyway, which is a fantastic show. It's now touring all over the United States right now. It's coming to San Antonio in March, so I think we're going to try to go see that. That'd be great. Have you thought about if this continues to go really well? Because I think you've done it just one or two times before, but
Yeah. We're kind of in the beginning stages of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you thought about, if it goes really well, have you thought about maybe taking it like on the road or?
Oh, I would love to do something like that. And it would be great, getting to, especially like being able to hook up with, vineyards or wineries or, wine bars and that sort of thing. And yeah, I mean, it's something where I think I definitely realized, after we got out of kind of like the COVID years, just how important live performance is, not just for me, but just for people in general. And, giving people a reason to get out of the house and to go and socialize, I think is so important,
Yeah. And a lot of people they went nuts during COVID. I mean, I just remember, my wife and I, we have a special needs kid, so he doesn't deal well with masks on his face, and the amount of comments we got from people when we were out in public. And I tried, commenting on people's social posts, like, hey, you got to remember, not everybody can do it. And they were like, oh, he needs to stay at home. You need to leave him alone. And then people calling us, take away our children, take away our jobs. It was like, geez, a week.
Jeez.
I
think to Lou's point, man, that human connection is something that I feel like we're getting farther and farther and farther away from. And guys like us who make a lot of content on the internet, we're probably part of the problem. But I so appreciate weekends like last weekend, hanging out with all the side scrollers guys and all the different creators that are there. I'm stoked for next week. We're going to plug Tex, who is an official creator, badge creator at DreamHack next week, going to be featured and up on the main stage playing some games and hanging out with us. We're doing some shows from there as well. But the idea of all of the different creators who are in our community being able to come together and meet them IRL, it's just special, Lou. That human connection and getting to shake someone's hand, give them a hug. We can't lose it.
Yeah,
totally. No, totally. And also it's what I like too is, being a family guy is, I the opportunities that I have to hang out with adults, are kind of, I don't have as many as when I was a guy in my, in my 30s living in the city. So I really, I cherish those opportunities to get together and hang.
Yeah. Does your wife find you real funny?
Oh yeah, man. I
just have to make sure, you know what I mean? Yeah. I try telling my wife that I'm funny and she says, no, you're not. And I'm like, yeah. So at least I made you laugh once. So I'm going to do the replay later so I can show her that I made a professional comedian laugh. Okay.
But was so fun. What was funny is I was when my kids were really young, they didn't laugh at me at all. They laughed at her. And another mother, explained it to me. She's like, yeah, because she's got the titties. That's why they're laughing. You don't have titties, so why do they have to laugh at you? It doesn't mean anything. And I'm
you could nowadays. I mean, moobs are kind of a thing.
That's true. That's true. Yeah,
dude, Tex is trying to bring them back so hard.
I know.
It's his t-shirt.
But dude, Foley, it's good to see you. Galactic Gaming Dead. Good to see you guys too as well. If you guys have any questions at all, let us know in chat, and we'll pass it on to Lou now. For those of you guys that maybe, I'm going to show Lou's passionate side here because this is really important as we talk about friends and family. And wrong video. Okay, user error. Okay, this is his passionate side.
Today while I was driving,
very important.
I stopped at a stop sign. I looked both ways, and then
good for you. Well done.
Everything was clear. I made a turn and outran a deer right in front of my car and ended up hitting the deer.
Poor deer.
And it was really loud. It was bad. I stopped the car and I got out, and I thought I was a tougher guy than I am. And on the floor was a deer. I don't know how old. I don't know if it's a male or female or whatever, but there was a deer, and it was hurt. It was lying there and it was dying. And I went down, I knelt down to see if I could, I don't know, to see if I could do anything. And as its life was passing, it opened its mouth and said, "Vote for Kamala Harris." and it died before I could correct it and say it's pronounced Kamala Harris. But either way, I hit a deer today. I killed a deer, and the last thing it uttered was to go and vote for Kamala Harris.
It's okay, Lou. You're amongst friends here.
You look like it still bothers you.
I can't believe you guys are doing this to me. You sent me down that horrific road again.
Yeah, I know, dude. That was so great because I remember that whole thing. Everybody started saying that, and it's like, dude, she's a moron. Let's just be honest.
Let's be clear though. The deer vote was a big part of the election. I mean, like it's a real thing. I'm gonna tell on my state, the great state of Florida that I live in right now. We lived in Florida from 2012 to 2016, and then we moved away to Ohio. And when we went to Ohio, we did the thing that you do when you move. We changed our driver's licenses. We re-registered to vote. We did all of the things. It was great. And then we moved back to Florida in I think it was like 2022, right? And so when I'm getting my driver's license renewed in Florida and my out-of-state license in Florida, the lady behind the counter, the DMV, is like, don't you mean you just need a lost license replacement? I'm like, no, I'm holding my Ohio driver's license. I moved from Florida to Ohio. I need to change my license from out of state. And she's like, no, your license in Florida is still valid. We never shut it down. And I'm like,
that's
how's that
surprising.
possible? She's like, yeah, it's really not supposed to be, especially with like, what's the new license, that the real ID? It's not supposed to be able to happen like that. It's supposed to be everything solid. She's like, but I can't give you a new license. I can just renew, like give you a reprint of your old one because it's still good. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not thinking anything about it. And then she's like, hey, do you want me to re-register you to vote down here? I'm like, yeah, absolutely, for sure. And she says these words. She says, so do you want to vote the same way that you like? Are you going to register the same party that you were registered for the last election that you voted in? And I was like, in like 2016 before we moved away, she's like, no, like in 1920? I don't even remember 2020, the Biden victory election.
Years, bro.
And I'm like, no, I voted in Ohio for that election. She's like, nah, you voted here too. And,
wow.
And I said, who did I vote for? Never mind. I know who I voted for. And she's like, well, would you like me to help you with voting this year? And I was like, nah, you've helped enough. Like, you guys have done enough. I'm good. I don't. So the point I make, like, this stuff is crazy, man. And that satire, that hitting on that and hinting at that, I love that. I love how, like, behind the back door you do that, man. Because I felt it.
Thank you. And you know what's amazing is that took me all of like however long that video was to shoot, and then post it took me about however long that video was to post it. And that thing might have more freaking views than some videos that I put thousands of dollars into. And it's
sometimes you just got to like shoot off the cuff and just go with it. It's the best moment sometimes,
yeah.
Now, have you ever thought about getting out of New Jersey and going somewhere else before? Because I know you got to get going, but a hard break here at the top of the hour.
Oh yeah, I'm about to move right now.
That's what I thought. Right to Texas, right San Antonio. You'd be my neighbor. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, we moved from New York, and a lot went into that. Like fully renovating the house and stuff, and when you do something like that, you really don't want to move ever again.
My wife's got a mile long honeydew list for me, which I've.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely times when I think like, oh man, I remember having that apartment and just having to pay the maintenance every month and not having to do all the shit that you have to do with a house. Like we're converting from propane to natural gas and stuff, and boy, that costs a lot of money.
Yes,
so I think occasionally, like when I do go into the city and just kind of have those memories of like, oh, what life was like being in an apartment. I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that again. But who knows? Maybe down the road, we'll downsize or something. But until then, we're here.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you because it's when we moved into the house, which I finally now have my own office, thank God. But we did a lot of work in the last house, and it was a disaster. And I was like, okay, well, whatever we do, we're not going to buy a fixer up because I don't want to have to go through that nightmare again. At least for a couple of years. You know what I mean? Give me a couple of years break, then maybe we'll talk about it. We'll still hire somebody. But anyway, I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, Lou, to come on and to talk with us. Before we go, make sure you guys down below follow his Substack, check out his YouTube channel. Also, make sure to go and check out his website too. Get more information about his book, which is also pictured down below. You can find it just about anywhere books are sold, right? Amazon, Walmart, even too as well.
Yeah,
So make sure
it's
you get
on
a copy.
Walmart. Yeah, I'm very proud of that.
Do you have any kind of advice for anybody new and upcoming that is, wanting to get into comedy and wanting to do like comedy content?
Yeah, I would say get up as much as you can, and just be willing to fail. I think.
Yeah, I think that's important too. What about hecklers? Do you get many of those?
Not many. Fortunately, and that I think that's something too. Like with a heckler, I think that's you also have to learn how to be in the moment and kind
A little bit witty.
Yeah, and deal with them because in my earlier days I would be very mean right away, and maybe to a point where it ends up turning off the rest of the audience. So you got to have a find a way to find your own way. To do.
Yeah, and there are ways out there too as well. There's some brilliant comedians that actually do that too as well. They kind of make a whole spiel of it. So, But anyway, make sure you guys go and check out Lou Perez. Really great guy. Seriously, appreciate your time, Lou. Thank you so much. Anything you want to say right before we get going?
No,
man, just go check this guy out. Go check him out. The Lou Perez.
He's like, I can't wait to leave. Bye. Like,
no, I thought you said Ray. Did you not say Ray? I thought you said Ray.
I said Ray. I did.
Okay, I was like, man, I blew this whole thing open. Go follow this guy. He's on TikTok. He's on Twitter. He's all over the place. Social media and all those links are down low, below in the description, man. Give him some time. Give him some love. Check him out, man. Lou, keep us laughing, brother. We appreciate you being here.
Okay, and we have one question from the audience, finally. Foley wants to know, serious question for you, Lou. Pineapple on pizza.
Not me, man. Not for me.
Wow.
You do you, and make sure you keep it to yourself.
There's your next video. Pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, that's right.
Coming live from
All right, you
Rumble.
guys, take care of yourselves. See you guys later on tonight for some Battlefield 6 Battle
do it.
Royale. All right, bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.